The night sky above Earth was calm, quiet, and unaware. High above the planet, beyond the clouds and satellites, a dark alien ship floated in silence. Its surface looked smooth like black glass, reflecting distant stars. Inside the ship stood Kale, a young alien warrior from the planet Zyphar. Kale was not afraid. He had trained for combat since childhood. His race believed strength decided honor, and honor decided survival. Kale was tall, sharp-eyed, and confident. But tonight, something felt different. A low voice echoed through the ship. "The prophecy is waking." Kale turned. An old alien seer named Vorin stood behind him, holding a glowing crystal. The light from the crystal flickered like a heartbeat. "You feel it too, don't you?" Vorin asked. Kale crossed his arms. "I feel nothing but readiness. You called me here for this." Vorin's eyes glowed faint blue. "Earth is not like other worlds." Kale smirked. "Earth is weak. No advanced weapons. No true warriors." The crystal suddenly flashed brighter. "One Earth girl," Vorin said slowly, "will challenge everything you believe." The room went silent. Kale laughed. "A girl?" Vorin did not smile. "She is called Asha, born under a rare alignment. The prophecy speaks of her strength, not her size." Kale stepped closer. "Then I will fight her, and end this prophecy." Vorin shook his head. "You do not fight prophecy. You awaken it." On Earth, far below, Asha sat alone on the edge of a cliff. The wind moved her dark hair gently as she looked at the city lights in the distance. She lived a simple life. She worked, trained, and kept to herself. No one knew her real strength, not even her closest friends. Asha closed her eyes. Her heartbeat slowed. She felt it again, that strange pull, like someone was watching her from the stars. Suddenly, the ground beneath her feet vibrated. Asha opened her eyes. The sky split open with a flash of blue light. A massive object descended silently and landed miles away, hidden beyond the hills. Birds flew into the air. The wind changed direction. Asha stood up. "So it begins," she whispered. The alien ship opened its doors. Kale stepped onto Earth for the first time. Gravity felt heavier. The air felt thicker. But he stood firm. His armor adjusted automatically, glowing faint red. "This is Earth," he said, scanning the area. "Primitive." Suddenly, his scanner beeped. Energy spike detected. Kale followed the signal, moving fast through forests and rocks, until he reached the cliff. And there she was, a human girl, standing calmly, waiting. Kale stopped. She did not look afraid. She did not run. "You should leave," she said softly. Kale frowned, afraid. Asha shook her head. "No, I'm trying to protect you." Kale's smile faded. "I don't need protection." Asha sighed and stepped forward. "Then don't blink." The air changed. Kale felt it instantly. Her energy surged fast, silent, powerful. Before he could react, Asha moved. She was everywhere. A strike hit his side. Another hit his chest. Kale stumbled back, shocked. Impossible. No human moved like that. He attacked back, faster, harder. The ground cracked beneath his feet. Trees shook. Dust filled the air. Asha blocked every move. Each hit from her felt controlled, precise. Not angry, not cruel. Kale pushed harder, releasing more power. Suddenly a blinding flash. A shockwave exploded across the cliff. The world went white. Silence. Kale opened his eyes. The sky was normal again. He was lying on the ground. His armor was damaged. His head hurt. He slowly sat up. "Asha," he called. No answer. Confusion filled his mind. What happened? He checked his body. No fatal wounds, no broken bones, but the fight, the ending. He couldn't remember. Kale looked around, his voice low and shaken. "Who won?" Far away, hidden among the shadows, Asha watched. "The prophecy has started," she whispered. And somewhere in the stars, the crystal cracked. Kale sat on the cold, unforgiving ground, his mind a swirling vortex of confusion. His advanced armor, a marvel of intergalactic engineering, flickered erratically, desperately attempting to mend its own wounds. He raised a hand to his head, the touch, slow, tentative. The battle, it had felt so visceral, so real. But the conclusion was a void, a fractured memory that refused to cohere. "How is this possible?" he whispered, the words swallowed by the desolate landscape. He was Kale the Unbroken, a warrior who had clashed with champions across 100 worlds. Never once had he lost control of his senses. Never once had his mind simply gone dark. The sudden crunch of footsteps from behind shattered the silence. Kale spun around, his body tensing for another fight. A figure emerged from the deep shadows cast by the alien rock formations. It was the girl, Asha. "You woke up faster than I expected," she said, her voice a calm river in the midst of his inner storm. Kale surged to his feet, his towering frame casting a long shadow over her. "What did you do to me?" he demanded, his voice a low growl of contained fury. Asha met his glare, without flinching, her eyes holding a seriousness that belied her youthful appearance. "I stopped the fight," she stated simply. Kale's hands clenched into tight fists, the metal of his gauntlets groaning under the pressure. "No, you defeated me." The admission was like poison on his tongue, but Asha shook her head, a gesture of patient correction. Asha paid his outburst no mind. She walked past him, her gaze lifting to the star-dusted canvas of the night sky. "I know I could," she said, her certainty absolute and chilling. Kale fell silent, the rage draining out of him, replaced by a profound unease. The wind howled between them, a lonely sound in the vast emptiness. The stars seemed brighter now, closer, as if they were silent witnesses to this impossible confrontation. "You're not here by accident," Asha continued, her voice carrying on the wind. "Your people, the Kaler, they sent you because of the prophecy." Kale stiffened, every muscle in his body going rigid. "You know about that." The prophecy was a secret kept by the highest echelons of his society, a legend whispered only in the most sacred halls. Asha nodded. "I've been hearing the whispers my whole life, in dreams, in the voices of the wind, warnings of a great warrior who would come to test the balance." Kale took an involuntary step back. This was beyond tactics, beyond strength. This was something ancient and elemental. "What are you?" he asked, the question filled with a dawning dread. Asha finally turned to face him again, her eyes seeming to hold the light of the distant stars. "I am the line," she said, her voice soft yet resonating with immense power. The line between peace and total destruction. In that moment, Kale felt an emotion he hadn't experienced since he was a child. Pure, unadulterated fear. A high-pitched signal pierced the air. His ship, his only link to home, was issuing an emergency recall. The beacon pulsed insistently. He had to go. "We will finish this," Kale declared, forcing a strength into his voice that he no longer felt. A faint, knowing smile touched Asha's lips. "No," she corrected him one last time. This was only the beginning. As Kale's body dissolved into a column of brilliant blue light, whisked away by the transporter beam, a single revolutionary thought lodged itself in his mind. For the very first time in his long, decorated life as a conqueror, he wasn't entirely sure he wanted to win. Kale returned to his alien ship, his mind a whirlwind of confusion. He replayed the fight over and over, trying to pinpoint the exact moment things went wrong. But every time he got close, the memory dissolved like sand through his fingers. "How is she even possible?" he muttered to the empty control room. Just then, Vorin, the alien seer, materialized, his signature, glowing crystal, floating silently beside him. "I warned you, Kale," Vorin's voice echoed softly. "She is no ordinary human. She is the one spoken of in the prophecy, Kale's frustration boiled over, and he slammed his fist on the console. I've conquered entire planets of warriors. Vorin, how can one single human be stronger than all of them combined? Vorin shook his head, his ancient eyes filled with a wisdom Kale couldn't grasp. Strength is not just about raw power. It is about control, about strategy, and perfect timing. She possesses all three. Meanwhile, back on Earth, deep within a hidden forest, Asha trained in solitude. Her movements were a seamless flow, impossibly fast, yet graceful. She could feel Kale's restless energy, a distant hum across the stars. She needed no weapons. Her own body was the ultimate instrument. Every punch, every kick, was a calculated masterpiece. Every breath was measured, controlled. Suddenly, a blinding light cut through the canopy above. Kale was back, and this time, he wasn't taking any chances. His ship descended, its landing shaking the very ground. The ramp lowered, and he stepped out, his combat gear fully activated, his eyes glowing an intimidating red. You shouldn't have done that. Kale's voice was cold, metallic through his helmet. I've learned from my last mistake. Asha simply tilted her head, a faint, almost challenging smile on her face. And what mistake was that? In response, Kale's hands ignited with crackling alien energy. Underestimating my opponent, Asha's eyes narrowed, her calm demeanor sharpening into focus. Then you're about to see why I've been holding back. The wind howled around them, bending trees as their immense energies clashed before a single blow was thrown. Kale lunged forward, a blur of motion as fast as lightning. But Asha dodged effortlessly, her countermove a fluid arc that sent Kale staggering backward, his system screaming with impact alerts. For the first time in his long life of conquest, Kale felt a terrifying realization dawn on him. This girl wasn't just strong, she was utterly unpredictable. Every attack he formulated, she seemed to anticipate. Every complex strategy he deployed, she had a ready answer. He broke off his attack, breathing heavily, his advanced suit struggling to regulate his vitals. How are you doing this? He demanded, his voice laced with disbelief. Asha stood her ground, as serene and unmovable as the ancient forest around them. You don't fight for yourself, Kale. You fight to fulfill someone else's prophecy. But I fight to protect my world. Kale's hands glowed brighter than before, his face set in a mask of grim determination. Then we'll see whose purpose is stronger. But just as he prepared to unleash his full power, the ground began to shake violently. Rocks and debris were torn from the earth, flying into the air, as if pulled by an unseen, colossal force. A new power had just entered the battlefield. Asha's eyes widened in surprise. A slow, chilling smirk spread across Kale's face. The forest was eerily silent, yet the air crackled with unspoken tension. Kale's energy pulsed, a fierce crimson glow against the deep green shadows. Opposite him, Asha's aura shimmered, a serene and steady blue. Neither moved, but it felt as if the entire world was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable clash. Kale's hands clenched into tight fists, his knuckles white. He spoke, his voice a low growl that cut through the silence. I've faced countless warriors, battled humans and aliens across galaxies. I've never known defeat. But you're different. Asha's gaze was unwavering, her expression calm despite the raw power radiating from him. I told you, Kale, I am not just a fighter. I am the protector. Kale's eyes narrowed, suspicion clouding his features. Protector? Protector of what? Before she could answer, a brilliant light pierced the canopy above. The glowing crystal from Vorin, a relic of a forgotten age, materialized high in the sky. It floated silently, radiating a soft, rhythmic light that pulsed like a cosmic heartbeat. Asha's eyes widened, a look of awe and apprehension on her face. The prophecy, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Kale tilted his head, his frustration growing. What prophecy? You speak in riddles. What does this all mean? Asha finally took a step forward, her own fists beginning to glow with a faint, controlled light. Long ago, it was foretold. A being from the distant stars would arrive on Earth, possessing strength and power beyond comprehension. The fate of this world would hinge on how he faced the one born under the great star alignment. Kale froze, the words hitting him with the force of a physical blow. His mind raced, connecting the pieces of his own mysterious arrival. The prophecy is about me. Asha nodded solemnly. Yes, but there's more you don't understand. The prophecy doesn't only speak of strength. Kale reacted on instinct, blocking the blow, but the unexpected force of her controlled attack sent him staggering back. For the first time in his long life of combat, a seed of uncertainty was planted in his mind. Suddenly, the sky above them plunged into an unnatural darkness. Twisted, grotesque shadows writhed between the ancient trees. From the inky blackness, strange creatures began to emerge, bizarre amalgams of cold machine and grotesque alien flesh. Kale's eyes widened in disbelief. What? What are these things? They are the Forgotten Guardians, Asha explained, her voice remaining calm but firm. They only appear when the prophecy is truly awakened. They are here to test both of us. Kale gritted his teeth, his warrior's pride surging. Test me. I am always ready for a fight. Asha glanced at him, her expression serious. Brute strength alone will not save you, Kale. You must understand the meaning behind the fight. His hands ignited with a brighter, more intense red glow. Then I will learn. The Guardians charged. The very earth shook beneath their monstrous advance, and rocks were thrown into the air like pebbles. Asha moved like a phantom, a blur of blue light, striking each creature with perfectly placed blows that disarmed and disabled. Kale unleashed his own fury, his raw energy clashing with the Guardians in explosive bursts of light and deafening sound. Yet, even in the chaos of battle, Kale began to notice something profound. Asha never struck to destroy. Every single one of her attacks was controlled, measured, almost gentle in its precision. He realized every move was designed to teach him something, a lesson about restraint, about control, about finding a purpose deeper than simple victory. As the fight raged on, Kale stumbled, not from a blow, but from the weight of this new understanding. The battle wasn't just a physical challenge. It was a lesson. He looked at Asha, a newfound respect dawning in his eyes. You're not just fighting them. You're showing me something. Asha met his gaze and nodded, her eyes filled with a serious light. The prophecy isn't about who wins or loses, Kale. It's about understanding why we fight and what we are willing to protect. His mind spun, his entire perception of power and strength shifting. One by one, the Guardians fell, their forms dissolving into wisps of shadow that dissipated into the night. When the forest fell silent once more, Kale stood facing Asha, breathing heavily, completely unsure of what to do next. You've changed me, he said quietly, the words almost a confession to himself. Asha offered a faint, knowing smile. And this is only the beginning. High above them, the crystal pulsed once more, its light sending a shiver of anticipation down Kale's spine. The prophecy had well and truly begun, and he knew that neither of them fully understood the perilous path that lay ahead. But Kale now knew one thing for certain. The final challenge was coming, and this time, he might not be able to rely on power alone. The night sky burned with stars as Kale and Asha faced each other on the cliff. The wind howled around them, a mournful sound that seemed to carry the weight of their destiny. Trees bent in submission, and the very earth seemed alive with tension, crackling with unspoken energy. Kale's aura, a fierce and fiery red, burned brighter than ever before. His confidence had returned, a roaring blaze, but now it was tinged with something new doubt. He couldn't shake Asha's words, the echo of her voice in his mind, the prophecy isn't about who wins or loses. Asha stood calm, a stark contrast to the storm around them. Her blue aura shimmered, a tranquil sea against Kale's inferno. She looked at him, her gaze steady, and her voice cut through the wind. Kale, This ends tonight. Kale clenched his fists, the leather of his gloves creaking. Then let's see whose purpose is stronger. Without another word, he lunged. The ground shook beneath his powerful steps. Blasts of raw energy ripped through the air, leaving glowing trails that scarred the darkness. Asha, however, moved with an impossible grace, dodging and weaving, her movements flowing like water around a stone. Every ferocious strike Kale made was met with perfect timing, with an effortless control that seemed to defy the chaos he unleashed. "You've grown," she said quietly, her voice still calm as she landed a gentle but firm strike to Kale's side. The impact sent a jolt through him. Kale staggered back, catching his breath, and then a slow smile spread across his face. It wasn't a smile of arrogance, but of respect. "So have you," he replied. They moved faster then, becoming blurs in the night. Every punch, every kick, every surge of energy was a conversation, a complex dance testing not just power, but skill and understanding. Neither of them held back. This was the culmination of everything. Then, suddenly, a massive wave of energy erupted from the cliff's center, a force independent of them both. The ground buckled, and both warriors stumbled, barely keeping their balance. High above, the glowing crystal Vorin had sent pulsed with an otherworldly light, showering them in its brilliance. Asha's eyes widened in realization. The prophecy, it's reacting to us. Kale froze midair, his attack forgotten. He looked up at the pulsating light. What is it trying to say? As if in answer, the crystal shattered into 1,000 shimmering sparks, raining down around them like ethereal snow. And with the sparks came whispers, words that only they could hear, weaving through their minds. Balance, understanding, choice. The truth of it hit Kale with the force of a physical blow. He fell to his knees, the red energy around him flickering. He finally understood. It was never about strength alone. It was never about who could hit the hardest or fight the longest. It was about heart, control, and purpose. Asha stepped forward, the ground no longer trembling. She gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "The fight wasn't meant to destroy," she said softly. "It was meant to awaken. You see, Kale, the real battle is inside." For the first time, a genuine smile touched Kale's lips, free of force or aggression. "Then, have I passed?" Asha nodded, her own smile reflecting the starlight. "You've begun. And that's all anyone can do." As if on cue, Kale's fierce red energy faded, replaced by a gentle warm glow. The tension in the air dissolved. The wind calmed to a soft breeze, and the stars above seemed to sparkle brighter, as if celebrating a quiet victory. Kale looked around. There were no enemies, no chaos. Only a peaceful earth, and Asha, standing tall beside him. He let out a soft laugh. "I came to win a fight, but I learned so much more." Asha's eyes shone. "That's the true victory." Kale nodded, a deep sense of peace settling over him. "Thank you, Asha, for showing me everything." As the first light of dawn painted the horizon, Kale activated his ship. He turned back one last time, his gaze meeting hers. "I will return," he promised, not as an invader, but as a protector. Asha waved, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. "And I'll be ready." The ship lifted silently, a silver streak against the morning sky, and disappeared. Kale sat on the cold ground, still confused. His armor flickered, trying to repair itself. He touched his head slowly. The fight felt real, but the ending was missing, like a broken memory. "How is this possible?" Kale whispered. He had fought warriors across many planets. Never once had he lost control. Never once had his mind gone blank. Suddenly, footsteps came from behind. Asha stepped out of the shadows. "You woke up faster than I expected," she said calmly. Kale turned sharply and stood up. "What did you do to me?" Asha looked at him, her eyes serious. "I stopped the fight." Kale clenched his fists. "No, You defeated me. Asha shook her head. No, I held back. That word hit harder than any punch. Kale laughed, but there was no confidence in it. You think you could end me? Asha walked past him and looked at the sky. I know I could. Kale stayed silent. The wind blew between them. The stars felt closer now, like they were watching. You're not here by accident, Asha continued. Your people sent you because of the prophecy. Kale stiffened. You know about that? Asha nodded. I've been hearing whispers since I was a child. Dreams, voices, warnings. Kale took a step back. What are you? Asha finally looked at him. I'm the line between peace and destruction, she said softly. Kale felt something new rise inside him. Fear. His ship signaled from far away. Emergency recall. We will finish this, Kale said, forcing strength into his voice. Asha smiled faintly. No, this was only the beginning. As Kale disappeared into blue light, one thought stayed in his mind. For the first time in his life, he was not sure he wanted to win.